Hello. Hi. How's everybody? Welcome to Frankenstein Tea, a daily short story program with the Island Free Library. I bring you this program, and I am Kristen. I am the director of the library, and this is my home. I am not at the library today. It is Sunday, and I was going to say, and I took the day off, but of course, yes, no, I was there earlier, but only for a short minute. So here we are in my home. This is a mask because I was just at the store. This is a neck warmer. Hi, Dad. You're on time or I'm on time or both. I'm having a little eggnog, virgin. I don't have any booze in it. Mostly because I don't have any booze in the house, but I'm thinking about going to get some for this eggnog. Yummy. It's a good little treat. Okay, so I'm going to read a story. This is Frankenstein Tea, a short story program for adult listeners. These are adult short stories. I just spent, an hour and a half reading stories, looking for a story, and I'm not sure that I like this one a lot, but I will tell you this. I think it's about a time period, and I think you have to listen because I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't like it because I didn't get it. Could be. And maybe I didn't get it because I didn't really want to listen, but we'll see. Sometimes I like them better as I read them more. So let's give this one a try. This is from a paperback, mass market paperback, 50 great short stories. This story is by John O'Hara, and the name of this story is Graven Image, and it was originally published in the New Yorker and Pipe Night. Graven Image by John O'Hara. The car turned in at the brief crescent-shaped drive and waited until the two cabs ahead had pulled away. The car pulled up. The doorman opened the rear door. A little man got out. The little man nodded pleasantly enough to the doorman and said, "Wait," to the chauffeur. Will the undersecretary be here long?" asked the doorman. "Why?" said the little man. "Because if you're going to be here, sir, only a short while, I'd let your man leave the car here at the end of the rank." "Leave it there anyway," said the undersecretary. "Very good, sir," said the doorman. He saluted and frowned only a little as he watched the undersecretary enter the hotel. Well, the doorman said to himself, it was a long time coming. It took him longer than most, but sooner or later, all of them. He opened the door of the next car, addressed a colonel and a major by their titles, and never did anything about the undersecretary's car, which pulled ahead and parked in the drive. The undersecretary was spoken to many times in his progress to the main dining room. One man said, "What's your hurry, Joe?" To which the undersecretary smiled and nodded. He was called Mr. Secretary most often, in some cases easily, by the old Washington hands, but more frequently with that embarrassment which Americans feel in using titles. As he passed through the lobby, the undersecretary himself addressed by their White House nicknames two gentlemen whom he had to acknowledge to be closer to the boss. And bustling all the while, he made his way to the dining room, which was already packed. At the entrance, he stopped short and frowned. The man he was to meet, Charles Browning, was chatting, in French, very amiably with the maitre d'. Browning and the undersecretary had been at Harvard at the same time. The undersecretary went up to him. "Sorry if I'm a little late," he said, and held out his hand at the same time looking at his pocket watch. Not so very, though. How are you, Charles? Fred, you got my message? Yes, sir, said the maitre d'. I put you at a nice table all the way back to the right. He meanwhile had wigwagged a captain who stood by to lead the undersecretary and his guest to table 12. Nice to have seen you again, Mr. Browning. Hope you come see us again while you're in Washington. Always a pleasure, sir. Always a pleasure, Fred, said Browning. He turned to the undersecretary. Well, shall we? Yeah, let's sit down, said the undersecretary. The captain led the way, followed by the undersecretary, walking slightly sideways. Browning, making one step to two of the undersecretaries, brought up the rear. When they were seated, the undersecretary took the menu out of the captain's hands. Let's order right away so I don't have to look up and talk to those two son of a bitches. I guess you know which two I mean. Browning looked from right to left, as anyone does on just sitting down in a restaurant. He nodded and said, Yes, I think I know. You mean the senators. That's right, said the undersecretary. I'm not going to have a cocktail, but you can. I'll have the lobster, peas, shoestring potatoes. You want a cocktail? I don't think so. I'll take whatever you're having. Okay, waiter, said the undersecretary. Yes, sir, said the captain, and went away. Well, Charles, I was pretty surprised to hear from you. Yes, Browning said, I should imagine so. And by the way, I want to thank you for answering my letter so promptly. I know how rushed you fellows must be, and I thought, as I said in my letter, at your convenience. Well, frankly, there wasn't any use in putting you off. I mean, till next week or 2 weeks from now or anything like that. I could just as easily see you today as a month from now, maybe easier. I don't know where I'll be likely to be a month from now. In more ways than one. I may be taking the Clipper to London, and then, of course, I may be out on my can, coming to New York and asking you for a job. I take it that's what you wanted to see me about. Yes, and with hat in hand. Oh, no, I can't see you waiting with hat in hand, not for anybody, not even for the boss. Browning laughed. What are you laughing at? Asked the undersecretary. Well, you know how I feel about him, so I'd say, least of all, the boss. Well, you've got plenty of company in this goddamn town, but why'd you come to me then? Why didn't you go to one of your union league or junior league or whatever the hell it is, pals? There, that big jerk over there with the blue suit and the striped tie, for instance. Browning looked over at the big jerk with the blue suit and striped tie, and at that moment their eyes met and the two men nodded. You know him? Said the undersecretary. Sure, I know him, but that doesn't say I approve of him. Well, at least that's something, and I notice he knows you. I've been to his house. I think he's been to our house when my father was alive, and naturally, I've seen him around New York all my life. Naturally. Then why didn't you go to him? That's easy. I wouldn't like to ask him for anything. I don't approve of the man, at least as a politician, so I couldn't go to him and ask him a favor. But on the other hand, you're not one of our team. But yet you'd ask me a favor. I don't get it. Oh, yes, you do, Joe. You didn't get where you are by not being able to understand a simple thing like that. Reluctantly, and quite obviously it was reluctantly, the undersecretary grinned. All right, I was baiting you. I know you were, but I expected it. I have it coming to me. I've always been against you fellows. I wasn't even for you in 1932, and that's a hell of an admission, but it's the truth. But that's water under the bridge, or isn't it? The waiter interrupted with the food, and they did not speak until he had gone away. You were asking me if it isn't water under the bridge. Why should it be? The obvious reason, said Browning. My country 'tis of thee? Exactly. Isn't that enough? It isn't for your racket club pals over there. You keep track of things like that? Certainly, said the undersecretary. I know every goddamn club in this country, beginning back about 23 years ago. I had ample time to study them all. You recall, objectively, from the outside. By the way, I notice you wear a wristwatch. What happens to the little animal? Browning put his hand in his pocket and brought out a small bunch of keys. He held the chain so that the undersecretary could see, suspended from it, the small golden pig. I still carry it, he said. They tell me a lot of you fellows put them back in your pockets about 5 years ago, when one of the illustrious brethren closed his downtown office and moved up to Ossining. Oh, probably, Browning said. But quite a few fellows, I believe, that hadn't been wearing them took to wearing them again out of simple loyalty. Listen, Joe, are we talking like grown men? Are you sore at the pork? Do you think you'd have enjoyed being a member of it? If being sore at it was even partly responsible for getting you where you are, then I think you ought to be a little grateful to it. You'd showed the bastards, okay? You showed them. Us. If you hadn't been so sore at the porcelain so-and-so, you might have turned into just another lawyer. My wife gives me that sometimes. There, you do see, Browning said. Now then, how about the job? The undersecretary smiled. There's no getting away from it. You guys have got something. Okay, what are you interested in? Of course, I make no promises. I don't even know if what you're interested in is something I can help you with. That's a chance I'll take. That's why I came to Washington, on just that chance. But it's my guess you can help me. Browning went on to tell the undersecretary about the job he wanted. He told him why he thought he was qualified for it, and the undersecretary nodded. Browning told him everything he knew about the job, and the undersecretary continued to nod silently. By the end of Browning's recital, the undersecretary had become thoughtful. He told Browning that he thought there might be some little trouble with a certain character, but that the character could be handled, because the real say-so, the green light, was controlled by a man who was a friend of the undersecretary's, and the undersecretary could almost say at this moment that the matter could be arranged. At this, Browning grinned. By God, Joe, we've got to have a drink on this. This is the best news since... He summoned the waiter. The undersecretary yielded and ordered a cordial. Browning ordered a scotch. The drinks were brought. Browning said, about the job, I'm not going to say another word, but just keep my fingers crossed. But as to you, Joe, you're the best. I drink to you. The two men drank, the undersecretary sipping at his, Browning taking half of his. Browning looked at the drink in his hand. You know, I was a little afraid. That other stuff, the club stuff. Yes, said the undersecretary. I don't know why fellows like you never would have made it in 1,000 years, but... Then, without looking up, he knew everything had collapsed. But I've said exactly the wrong thing, haven't I? That's right, Browning, said the undersecretary. You've said exactly the wrong thing. I've got to be going. He stood up and turned and went out, all dignity. I got it better that time. I got the two characters a little mixed up on my first read, but I got it that time. I'm not sure what the pork was, though. Somebody will know. Mom will know, Dad. Oh, question mark. I know. Listen again, Dad. Listen again. It'll get better the second time. I don't know what the pork was, though. Police, I think. Police. It's some club, right? Some club. All right. Back to Christmas decorating. Back to decorating. More things to do. More chores on a Sunday for me. Thanks for coming to Frankenstein Tea. Have fun up there, Dad. Stick to your quarantine. Good work. Sunny here today. After that crazy storm. Yeah, sunny. It's nice. But it's the end. It could be the end of it. Looks like it's getting darker by the second. Just going down. 3:17, right? It'll be dark in an hour. Darkest days of the year here. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow for another short story on Frankenstein Tea. Thanks for coming. Peace.